I've been doing recently when I've been wanting to take a break from my oil paintings, my studio work, I've been now dabbling with ink, with pen, and also some watercolor painting, which is both pretty new to me. I've done pen drawing before, but watercolor, this is the first time that I've really touched the medium. So it's been really fun getting to try something new and explore that. I also really like that both of those things, pen and watercolor, you can't erase, very unlike oil painting, where oil painting is so forgiving and you can kind of just keep endlessly fixing things. Definitely not the case for pen and watercolor. So I'm finding that there's obviously a lot of planning that has to go on beforehand, and it's a really nice balance of getting the marks down that you want and making a beautiful image, but also not overworking it at the same time. So here's the first one that I did. These are all with micron pens on Stonehenge paper. This one is with a brown micron pen. And this guy, really like the the expression and the mark making in the face. It's been really fun getting to explore with these and figure out how to make correction. Well, you can't really make, it's more like if say I made the eyebrow too high and made like a weird line or something, you kind of have to be more go with the flow with it, because you can't erase it, so it's just figuring out how to make it work. And so that's been a fun challenge. Ooh, so some of these images, I'm just doing them because I really like the image and I think it'll be a beautiful image. But one like this is that I've been playing around with this idea for this larger composition with sleepers. And so doing pen sketches has been a good way for me to figure out poses that I want to maybe use for this larger painting, and also with costuming as well. And then with watercolor, bringing in color. There's one sleeper. I really like this. I really like having two figures with arched backs and having them be connected. I just find that really, really interesting, and I want to explore this idea more. I like how this one turned out a lot. This one I did a watercolor of. I just finished it today, actually. Show that in a second. Oh, that's it. And I really like the style that's coming out in these. It's kind of my more natural mark making tendency. And you can't really hide behind anything with pen because you can't be covering it up with layers of oil paint like I could in my paintings. So I'm really, really liking these. These are really fun to do. And also it also kind of feels like a luxury too. Working on these, my studio work with my oil paintings, I prefer to stand, and with these little guys, I will sit on the couch. So these are just a really fun thing to do. And then as far as my watercolor goes, this is the first time I've done watercolor. I've always been really tempted to use watercolor, but kind of intimidated by it as well. So I'm glad that I just jumped in. I had this watercolor set that I got when I was a kid, and I used one of the colors, a brown color, just to start off and play around with it and see if this is something that I wanted to invest a lot of time into. But I had so much fun doing it. So this is literally my first watercolor. Oh, just figuring out how the paint goes on paper and figuring it out that way. This is my second one. It's similar to an ink drawing that I did, and same with this one. So this, I feel like I'm starting to get the hand a little bit more and figure out the how to make my mark making more subtle in some areas. And then I was hooked. So then I went out and I bought a professional set by All Winds Are New, and it pretty much follows my same palette as my oil painting, but with a few more colors. So I have yellow ochre, burnt sienna, Windsor Red, Alizarin Crimson, Raw Umber, Ultramarine, Green Shade, and Ivory Black. So it's really close to my oil painting palette, so I'm pretty used to the colors and what they do when they mix together. I like a more limited palette. The two colors that I did add that I don't have in my oil painting palette is the Burnt Sienna and the Raw Umber. I usually just mix those with oil paint, but since watercolor, things are drying a lot faster, I thought it would just be easier to have those tubes already pre-mixed. Well, they're not mixed, it's the natural earth pigment, but to have those already then on my palette. So this is the first painting that I did with the professional watercolor set, and I really like how it turned out. It was really fun to do. But I'm finding with watercolor, not so much with paint, with the pen drawings, probably because watercolor, there's literally so many moving parts with it and drying times and the water sweeping across the paper, that once I finish them, I'm just so tense when I'm working on them. But yeah, this was really fun. And so I also got better paper too. So this is from a watercolor block, weighted 300, and it's by the Arches watercolor block. And this one I just did today, finished it today, I mean. This one's a nod to Waterhouse's The Lady of Shalott. So yeah, working on these has been a nice little departure from my oil paintings, though I feel like they all support each other for sure. You can really do so much with oil painting with all of those transparent layers and texture and all of that. And then with the pen and watercolor, without being able to erase or just putting yourself in a different headspace when you're making your marks. And also, one of the big reasons why I wanted to do watercolor is so when I'm planning out these bigger painting compositions that I want to be using with my oil paintings, I think watercolor would be a nice way to kind of get like a smaller sketch of what that painting is going to do. And it's not then relying on texture or anything like that, but it's literally the pigment spread over paper. So you're just then literally working with color and value to make your image and make sure that it works that way before investing a lot of time and money into the oil painting. And all of those pen drawings and watercolors are available, so if you would like to own one, you can send me an email at jennifermariekeller@gmail.com. And then also, I still have available those prints of my cherubs painting, the limited edition prints in small, medium, and large size. So you can either email me at jennifermariekeller@gmail.com about that, or you can check them out on my website at jennifermariekeller.com.